Hello and welcome to Lipstick, Lies, and Liberation. This is a podcast with sisters Amber and Sam. We are here to talk about all the things that women deal with in society, the lies we are sold, the liberation that we go through as we mature and grow as humans and women on this life journey. And we're so excited to talk about today's topic, which is a fun one. Many opinions will be shared and debated, I'm sure, but it's about sex and the city. So, going over the lipstick lies and liberation in regards to the lens of Sex in the City. I'm pretty sure Amber and I are probably going to have, I don't know, we might have similar opinions, but probably pretty different. But anyway, to get started, we're going to jump into our opening segment, which we share our lipstick for the week, our lies for the week, and our liberation for the week. So, Amber, do you want to go ahead and share yours?
Sure. So my lipstick was pretty simple for the week. I've been trying to get my nails done less at the salon just to give them a break because it's been making my nails break and stuff like that. So I went out and got new nail polish and new nail files and all the things and did my nails myself a couple times this week, and that felt really good and polishing. So that was my lipstick. My lie is yesterday, I took my two boys into the city of Philadelphia by myself. And normally, that is not something I would ever do by myself. It's something I always felt like I had to have a male companion to come with me into the city because I had these lies that as a woman, I couldn't protect myself and my kids in the city if there was a dangerous situation, or that the city was dangerous and I shouldn't go in without a male. And I think I believed a lot of those ideas from like past relationships, things that like my partner might have thought, things, you just kind of see on the news and stuff. But one of my sons wanted to go in and get cheesesteaks, and it was just the three of us. And I thought, yeah, like, let's go. And I went in, we drove in, it was fine. I parked, we
You're
ate,
amazing.
had a great time. Yeah, so that was definitely a lie I always told myself. And yesterday it was awesome. And I was like, I can do this. Everything is great. My liberation is today is January 27th, and today, 4 years ago, I was sitting in a doctor's office and I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And this date always kind of hits me a little hard because it's like I want to be super thankful and super happy on this day because I just think, wow, like today I can make April 27th whatever day I want. And it doesn't have to be that heavy day where the doctor gave me that news and there was so much uncertainty and so much like pain and like fear and
Mm.
like being scared. So like today hits me with like a little bit of a mixed emotions, but I feel liberated because every time that anniversary passes, I let go of those feelings I felt in the doctor's office a little bit more. And it gives me an opportunity to liberate myself and take control of a date that felt very out of control for me before. So that's my liberation for today.
Big day. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
let's celebrate Amber. Oh
so
my
try
God.
to, make new memories on this day.
Yeah. Wow, that's huge. Ugh, beautiful. Just like I'm just taking a moment to think about. Yeah. Wow. I can't believe you didn't tell me earlier when we talked.
Yeah, it always hits me weird. I have like two dates. I have the diagnosis date that brings up feelings, and then I have like my date that I consider becoming cancer free, which is May 19th. And that's the day I had my surgery because walking back to that OR room, I don't know what it was, but I just knew the surgery was going to cure me. So, like, that day
Mm.
is always a little easier and a little happier because it's just like another year, another celebration, another day to be like grateful for the 365 days I got that year that I wasn't sure I was going to get. But the diagnosis date always hits me a little weird, but it's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, well, beautiful day. I love that you're reclaiming it and
Yes.
celebration now.
Liberating.
Yeah. Incredible. I was laughing so hard during your lipstick because my lipstick is like the same.
The nails.
Yes, the nails because well right now I have press-ons. I'm showing them for
Oh,
everyone
look
on YouTube.
great.
Thank you. It was so funny. We were hanging out with our friends last night and the guy was like, "Are those your real nails?" I thought he was almost freaked out, but yeah, the press-ons are cute. I was always going to the salon and getting like acrylic, which Amber was just getting a manicure. I was getting acrylic and gel on top. But now that like I'm not I was like bartending in the past and I was always scared of press-ons like falling into someone's food or drink.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be
Yeah, and then
disgusting.
yes, and always having your hands wet. Um
Speaking of
it
which,
just
one
like
time, not to interrupt you, but my daughter had a friend over and they were eating snacks and like Oreos and chips and stuff. And like that night, like I went into the Oreo thing and there was a fake nail in it. And they knew it was her friend's and it grossed me out so bad. I was like, ew. So
no,
if
it is
it
gross.
happened in my own home and I knew who it came from and it grossed me out. So if it happened in a restaurant, forget about
Yeah, no, I just couldn't. I was like, I can't ever do that to someone. And sometimes, like,
it.
yeah, and just like bartending, your hands are always wet. You're always using a rag and like cleaner. And so I
Yeah.
was just like, I can't ever risk doing that to someone. So I was getting them done with acrylic, because it's way more sturdy. But anyway, now that I don't do that, I was like, oh, I could just use press-ons or I wanted to stop getting them done and like do them myself, kind of as a self-love, self-care ritual. Like I thought it would be fun. And I went and bought the colors that I would get all the time at the salon. I just went to CVS.
Cute.
Yeah, because I get the same like nudie pink and the same red and this other color and like I love doing French. So yeah, it was like a self-love fun ritual. But every time I do it, I get frustrated and I don't I don't think I do a great job. But anyway,
I don't
besides the
either. Don't worry.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So that also is my lipstick. Um my lie was I have learned so many healing modalities. I have studied so many things. I love learning. I love personal development. And my lie was that, like, I don't use my tools on myself as much as I would like to, or as much as would benefit me.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because I just completed my Psych 2 training where I can now work with people one on one from a distance. And like, the group that I was in for that class had like a follow-up call together, like to practice on each other and to just like catch up and see how it's been. It's only been a week, but they were like, they've done so much work with themselves using this modality. And I had so much stuff happen right before the training. So it was like I was still coming down and trying to get my footing. But I was like, wow, I have so many things I would love to use this for. And just in general, I don't think I use my tools as much as I would benefit from. So
Mhm.
that was an interesting like realization being like, why aren't I utilizing these tools when I could? And I could make my experience in many different areas so much better. So I'm excited. I set a goal and I'm gonna do my best to reach it every week of like transforming because Psych K is really good for like transforming stress and limiting beliefs and releasing trauma and we're rewiring your brain. And so yeah, I'm really excited to
I love
utilize it.
that.
Yeah, and so fun. Like I can just take care of all that stuff. I don't need to live with it in my body and in my brain.
Well, it goes
Um,
back to that old saying, which I actually heard like earlier today on something where like, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And it's like you have
mhm.
all these great tools that you use to like help other people and other women. But like, yeah, you can be using them on yourself. And like the more we like
Yeah.
take care of ourselves first, it just makes
Yeah.
you better and more equipped to help other people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, yeah, because yesterday I sometimes I get anxiety on highways.
Hmm.
Um, and I felt it yesterday when we went to go pick up our friends from the airport and we had to go on the highway. It was like 25 minutes and it's just like my fiance was kind of rushing and so he was like going kind of fast and like in the left lane and I just was like feeling really overwhelmed. And I was like, I could use Psych K to like completely transform this panic attack and to completely like
Yeah.
transform
Yeah.
the driving anxiety. Like, why haven't I? And that's just an interesting question. Like, why haven't I taken the time for myself to do those things? So that's again a limiting belief that now I can use Psych K with myself to transform that and like make the time to support myself so I can be more free and
Yeah.
not have stressful reactions to things. Um, so
Awesome.
that was my lie, was realizing how much I don't use my own tools for my benefit, but that is something I'm changing. And my liberation is, so my fiance and I made friends with our neighbors, and they're a couple, and they're really lovely people from Minneapolis. And I just always felt like, for the last few years, I just never thought I would be the kind of person who was like in a relationship with someone and then we would have like friends that were a couple
Yeah, yeah.
that we would actually like get along with, and then let alone like want to like do weekends with or like vacations with. And like because like I don't drink alcohol, I'm vegan, I don't drink coffee, I don't like, there's a lot of things I don't do or don't believe in. And I feel like most of the examples that I saw of couples having friends that were couples, it was like always drinking or like partying, like
Like
going
socially
away.
revolving around those things. Yeah.
Yeah, or sports because of Philly. It
Mhm.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, if you have friends. Yeah. So it just, and all my other long-term relationships, all of our friends were single besides us, basically. So this really is like the first time at
I
35.
love it. Look at you.
Yeah. So it feels liberating, it feels so fun. And like, I think they're just such amazing people. And I feel
Yeah.
really honored that like they think the same of me and
Hmm.
Ben and want to be our friends. And it's really cool. It's a cool feeling. So that feels liberating, to find people you feel met by and
Hmm.
creating that community, like actually having it. Like it feels like such a pipe dream, which is kind of funny, but
Yeah.
uh,
A lot of
yeah.
double dates in your future.
Yeah, yeah. And we're neighbors
Yeah.
too, so there's another couple in our like little condo building kind of a thing. And
Hmm.
we're like, what if we become friends with them too? And then the six of us hang out like on Friends.
Oh, that'd be so cute. So cute.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'll update everyone.
Yes, keep us updated. I have to say, I've been meeting a lot of new people lately, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there now that don't drink. And
Good.
it's not that they had an alcohol problem or something like that, because like sometimes when I first meet somebody and they're like very like, I don't drink, I assume like
Yeah.
they had some kind of issues, right? Or like some kind of issue maybe affected someone that they love, so they're just like, it's not even worth it. But I've
Hmm.
been meeting a lot of people who just don't drink because they just don't want to. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think you're gonna find,
Yeah.
I think you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I
Yeah.
think I always am pretty ahead of the curve. Not to brag.
Not to brag.
Brag. I know. Well, I'm always like researching things and then doing things. And
Hmm. You
like,
do.
yeah, like I remember telling our family, like when I was 18 years old, being like, don't use tampons because they're bad for you and they use
They have
bleach
bleach in
in
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everyone, not you, but like everyone was like, you're crazy, you're paranoid. And then like years
Yeah.
later, like, oh, it is bad for you.
And the one time you said there was metal in deodorant, and I was like, good Lord, is she gonna stop wearing deodorant? Because I can't like but then it came out that there were metals in deodorant and stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff like, that you have like kind of spotted that aren't healthy for women or things
Yeah.
that are just being like pushed on us. And I mean, we just trust it, right? And then it has come out. So I don't know, women really have to like be looking out for themselves and other women when it comes to our health and stuff like that.
Yeah, do your own research and don't be afraid to be seen as like the kooky,
Yeah.
hippie, crazy person who I feel like things have changed so much with society after COVID and the Epstein files, that like people are more open to an alternative narrative.
Yes, and I think their eyes are being opened more to how much, I guess, women's issues are really being pushed aside and have been pushed aside for a long time.
Yeah, and
So,
nothing is tested on women. It's like I
mhm.
forget the percentage, but it was like the pharmaceutical companies, like not it was like 99% of drugs are never tested on women.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things like that. I remember, so like I typically work in law firms, and last year I remember getting into a debate with one of the male attorneys, and I kept saying how cold it was, and like I'd have
Mhm.
sweaters, and I'd literally be drinking hot water just to keep
Yeah.
warm because I didn't want to have more coffee. And he'd be like, "I'm sweating, like it's got to be hotter in my office than it is at your desk," and like brought in a thermometer and everything. And then like I saw this article, and I told him, I said they did studies, and like they keep the temperature in office buildings that it's supposed to be comfortable for men. And when they did those studies, they did it on men and like how they felt comfortable if they were hot at a certain degree and stuff. So like none of those studies are like pushed towards what makes women comfortable. And I'm telling you, every woman that I worked with was like freezing. And then all,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's like something that simple. Like the temperature in an office building is still gauged towards a male's preference.
Well, it's like not just men, but men in wool suits.
So serious.
Because yeah, well, because I think it was done in like the 70s or something.
Yeah.
They were wearing like thick, super thick wool suits and shirts and like so many layers. And like women, our clothes is it's just thinner and like usually not as good of materials and
Mhm.
like just yeah, not maybe not as many layers or
Yeah.
um yeah, it's kind of it's just bananas. Nothing in this modern reality is set up for us.
Mm.
Um
Yeah, I had someone ask me, they were like, "Oh, do you wear like a lot of pants to work or do you wear more like skirt suits and stuff like that?" And I'm like, "Well, in my mind, I want to be wearing the skirt suits and the dresses because that's like cute. It would be like a
cute. Yeah.
lipstick for me and make me feel good. But like, I'm not willing to freeze for 7.5 hours. So I got pants on every day and like a sweater, you know what I mean? Because I know it's gonna
Yeah.
be the Arctic in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. I Okay, this is a side tangent I won't spend too much time on, but I got in trouble. I got written up by my manager when I worked at Penn Medicine because it was freezing and I wanted to still look nice
Mhm.
when I like was wearing something over top of my shirt. So I wore a blazer that was the like pen color, like the pen blue, U
Yeah.
pen. And it was the same color blue, but I just wore it over my long sleeve button up and I got written up for a dress code violation for
Wow.
wearing a blazer as a jacket. And he was like, "What do you even call that? That it's a overcoat." And I was like, "A blazer?" He
So
didn't
you're
even
just
know.
supposed to be cold?
Yeah,
Like,
well, it was like I was supposed to buy some like $100 sweater that they sold, but it was thin and it didn't even like
yeah.
it didn't look as nice. And I don't know. No one told me I couldn't wear a blazer. It just was the whole thing. He got fired shortly
Yeah.
after that, after I
Ew.
left. 'Cause he just yeah, I know. I know, but like there's so many issues in this office we have to deal with, and you're gonna focus on me looking more professional than I needed to. And I was
Yeah.
21, so like,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
all the women were freezing. But anyway,
Sex in
let
the City.
shall we get into Sex in the City?
So fun. So when I was thinking about this last night and about us
Mhm.
recording today, I actually thought how we could literally break down Sex in the City, what it is and everything into lipstick, lies, and liberation. Because if you
Oh,
think about
cool.
each character, like each of them, there's so many things that could fall under lipstick. The fashion,
Yeah.
the beauty, the things they do that make them feel beautiful. Like there's
Mhm.
just so much. And then
Yeah.
lies is Carrie is writing this column, and it's all about what's the truth? Like, is there real love in the city? Like, is there love after 30? Like, do men
Mhm.
like women that aren't just models? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
so many lies that she's trying to uncover about love, being single, being a woman. And then
That's
liberation
very
is
true.
just like when you watch these women break out of their shells or do things that they want to do that they're not sure about. And Samantha is like liberation to a T.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited to like dive into that.
I love that analysis. I think, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, how far are you in the show? Because I feel like maybe you've seen it all, but you're rewatching it and you haven't watched it in a while.
So that's what I'm doing right now because it's back on Netflix and it's been really fun to start watching. So I'm on the first season again. And when it
Mm.
first came out, it was on HBO and we did not have HBO growing up because you had to pay extra for that.
Yeah. And I remember being told like not to watch it.
Oh yeah, it was like a taboo thing. So I would watch it at like friend's house randomly. So I got to see most of it. And then for those who are old enough, it came out in Blockbuster. And
Ah!
you could rent them in Blockbuster, and I would do that and watch them. So it's been really fun starting to rewatch it again, especially like I'm rewatching it now as a single woman.
Yeah.
And so like it's just really cool to be looking at it from that perspective as to where like I was young before and like, in relationships not that serious, like I was young and then like getting to that phase where I was about to get married. So it's like a totally different perspective for me this time around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. You just made me think of you were like Charlotte after her divorce from McDougal. The
Oh,
British
yes.
guy, the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she had her like perfect marriage
Hmm.
that she was seeking that she thought would like make her whole and complete. And then it wasn't. She was like, my marriage is a fake Fendi. And because Samantha bought a fake Fendi and she was like, I want a real one. I don't want a fake one. And then Charlotte busts out and was like, my marriage is a fake Fendi. Like it just looks perfect from the outside, but is lonely and not even close to perfect
And I
inside of it.
think there's so
Mhm.
many people out there that can relate to Charlotte in that way. And then you get
Yeah.
to the point where you've built up this life and this image, and like you're basically your like husband's PR person, right? Like when
Yeah.
you do decide to leave, everybody's like, "Oh, we had no idea. Like we thought you guys were the perfect couple." And it's like, "Well, I'm not going to post like he yelled at me this morning because I didn't put the paper towels back." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not the stuff you're projecting out there. So I definitely relate to Charlotte in a lot of ways. And I think for me, when I was young and I like started to get married and have kids and I had that whole unit, like,
Mhm.
I think that's what I looked at as success, even if there was like so much emotionally lacking from my marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, I we need to start with this question. Who would you say that you are? And maybe the first time you watched it and then now.
Okay, so the first time I watched it, I don't think I was really one of them yet because I was like younger, but I think I
Yeah.
related the most towards Charlotte. And like,
Hmm.
like a little more modest, a little more conservative, um,
Yeah.
not
Was
as
she your favorite?
daring. Huh?
Yeah. She
Yeah.
was your favorite.
She was my favorite. Yeah, I just thought she was super cute. But now I think I relate to Carrie. Like,
Yeah.
just like my life's kind of a little bit of a mess, but I still love it. And I'm not sure what each day is going to bring. And meeting new
Yeah.
people and doing new things and like just having fun has been such an adventure. And like sometimes it feels really great. And then other days you wake up and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But I love it. It's exciting.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's so good. Um, okay, well, I have an opinion on Charlotte I would love to share later. I hope I remember. But I think when I watched it when I was younger, I thought Miranda, when I was younger, I thought Miranda was too intense.
Hmm.
I thought I loved Samantha, but I felt like I shouldn't love Samantha.
Hmm.
Like I felt like I couldn't love her. But
Yeah.
I did, but I like shouldn't, and it was wrong. Um, and
I think there's a lot of people who secretly, especially when it first came out, loved Samantha, but then like
uh-huh.
judged her at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so cool and fun and stuff, but I would never do that.
Yeah, it's like it's not even judging her. It's just like the programming that we were indoctrinated into, like she
Well,
goes
yeah.
again. And so it's like triggering watching her if you
But now,
haven't
yeah.
freed yourself from the programming and from uh,
And now
the
I feel like things are a little more liberal and liberated from women, even from when this series first came out. So I think watching it this time around, there's just so much that's more open about sexuality, relationships, different types of relationships you can have now that
Mhm.
wasn't really talked about back then. So like now
Yeah.
you can watch it in like a different lens, you know?
Yeah. I think for sure. And I think there has been a massive awakening for women just
Hmm.
all over, especially the last few years. Okay, that leads me to another thing I want to talk about. But um, Okay, so I think my favorite was Carrie because I loved like her outfits. I loved how she was like did a creative job and I loved her lifestyle and I thought she was like fun and she wasn't afraid to like get into trouble. You know, I'm
Hmm.
not talking about the cheating or like doing immoral things, but she just wasn't afraid to like live.
Hmm.
And so I felt very drawn to her, and I felt like Charlotte was way too intense, and I didn't appreciate her very much when I was younger. Um, but now as an adult and like the same age that they are in
Yeah.
the show, I think I'm the same age that they are in season 4 or season 5. But um yeah, Carrie is just like she centers men
Hmm.
above everything. Like it's actually embarrassing. Like if she, I would respect her so much more. I mean, I do like you should always respect women, but like I would respect her so much more if she was like, I sent her shoes and
Yes. Yes.
like being obsessed with fashion or like have her passions. I feel like she just doesn't, yeah, she just centers men, and that is like not really a great friend to have. Even though people always say that she's a bad friend, but I do think she's actually a decent friend. But anyway, okay, my favorite obviously is Samantha, and I love Miranda. I think Miranda is epic. She is so cool and like, but she kind of, yeah, I think she's really cool and funny. And then Charlotte, I think Charlotte doesn't get enough credit because she does do a lot of things, especially in the beginning of the show. Like
Hmm.
she has sex with that like rabbi
Yeah.
artist in a barn. She
Yeah.
agreed to have her vagina painted
Which
by
was
that.
such a big deal that she ended up, because she's so modest, and for her to like, just for her love of art to agree to let this guy paint that. And then, like, I
Yeah.
felt like it was so empowering. And this is in the first season, what we're talking about. They're in the art gallery, and it's just a gallery of women's private parts that this guy painted, and the girls are guessing which one's hers. And she actually
Yeah.
looks like very proud. She doesn't look embarrassed. She doesn't look, like, oh my gosh, did I make the wrong decision? Like
Yeah.
she looked empowered, and I really love that. And that's definitely out of her comfort zone.
Yes. And then when there's one episode, I don't know if you've gotten to it, but when that guy styles her like a man.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she makes the first move and he's and then he like rips off her mustache and like and she's like, I want big he's like stuffing socks in her pants. She's like, make it bigger. Like there are times where I feel like Charlotte is even more adventurous than Samantha, but then
Mhm.
she's trying to achieve this like princess being like she says in the beginning of the show, she's like, oh, women just want to be rescued. And the
Mm.
other girls get upset and they're like, no, we don't. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you would say that. And then after her divorce with McDougal, she's like, what if we're each other's soulmates and men are just fun extra parts of our lives?
I love
And
that. Hmm.
yeah, so you see her really grow and like change that like what she sees as success or like her being worthy of love or yeah, you just see her grow so much. But I do think her like sexual exploration in the beginning of the show is even more like kinky or like wild than Samantha's.
Yeah. Well, something I've noticed this time around too is like Samantha does have insecurities that I don't
Mhm.
think I picked up a lot the first time when I watched it when I was younger. But she
Yeah.
does. Like it'll like be shown like a little bit at a time where like she'll compare herself to someone younger, or there was like an episode about being a model or not being a model in New York City. So it's interesting for
Yeah.
me to pick up on this because like before I always just saw her as this woman who like didn't care about anything, but you can see she does have this vulnerable side and
Yeah.
this side where she like compares herself to other women. And as much as we hate to say it, like we've just been programmed to compare ourselves to other women from like a very young age. And like that's hard. And it's like weird for me to notice that she does that this time around.
Yeah, but it is fun because I remember the girls are like complaining about their body, like some body part, and Charlotte's like, "Oh, I hate my thighs," and Miranda's like just calling herself ugly, I think overall. And then
Yeah.
And then Carrie was like, I'll raise you a honker and like points to her nose. And then they all look at Samantha, who's silent, and she's like, I happen to like how I look very much. She does, and she doesn't say anything. And but I just love that, like that example of a woman not tearing herself down. I feel like her and Beth Dutton, I think are some of the most dynamic,
Mm,
rare portrayals of women in television history in
yeah.
terms of, yeah,
And
and like,
I love that scene where Samantha says that like she's not going to name anything because she's happy with the way she looks. And I wish like more people, more women would like feel that way. And you
Mhm.
can. And like I think in that scene, like they literally have a magazine or something. And so like they're looking at this woman in a picture and then they're comparing themselves. But like it is so easy to just look at yourself and be like, yeah, I am gorgeous. Like I
Yeah.
don't look like anybody else. And that's okay because like I don't need to look like this person because everybody's beautiful. They're beautiful in their own way. And like women have so much power with their beauty. And
Mhm.
sometimes, like, I think we're just like programmed to not focus on that. But if you did, like, it's incredible what you can do with it.
Yeah. Well, I watched the movie Too Hot or or something pretty, too pretty, she's too pretty. I told you to watch it, but it's where it's
Mhm.
with Amy Schumer and she wakes up from a head trauma and
Yeah.
she yeah, and she like thinks she's the most beautiful woman on earth and it's like she looks exactly the same though, but she
Yeah.
thinks she looks like basically a Victoria's Secret model and just goes through life like being yeah, it's actually hilarious and like you're kind of like, wow, that's fucked up. But then you're also like, this is funny. And then the end message is like good. But it was so funny and so true. Like her life and what she was able to do from having so much confidence because she perceived the way she looked as different.
Yeah.
Um, and then at the end, she realizes like it was all her. It wasn't her looks because she looked the
Yeah.
same.
It wasn't what size she was or what her hair
Hmm.
looked like or her face or, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think sometimes we have this like cookie cutter image of what we think is beautiful,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Women are just amazing. And I don't think we
Women are
realize it.
gorgeous. I think
Hmm.
if you want to heal your body image, if you're listening and like you have like bad self-talk or negative self-talk, going to a nude beach or a nude resort, I like it no, it is so healing because seeing real bodies in person
Hmm.
seeing real bodies, not with clothes, not with
Yeah.
labels, not with anything you can judge someone else by, not seeing what car they drive, like literally just seeing a human body with maybe some jewelry, probably, but still not much. Like you have nothing to judge them by. And like you're not staring, like when you are in these spaces, people are very conscious about safety and making sure everyone feels safe. Like there's usually people who kind of are in charge and like make sure everyone is like a
Yeah.
good person who's safe, which is so lovely. Like I went to the nude beach, Gunnison Beach. It's under New York City. It's in the Jersey Shore, um, near like
Wait, did you
those.
walk around nude?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, girl, I didn't know that.
What? Yeah,
That
heck
I cannot
yeah.
add that to my bucket list. I just can't. I love
Well,
it. I love everything you're saying though.
yeah. Well, okay. So we loved skinny dipping as teenagers.
Okay.
And we were always skinny dipping and then I mean never say never because so then
True.
yeah I really wanted to go to this beach. It was like pandemic time and it was summer and it's so funny actually I met this random guy in my neighborhood who like when I was walking my dog and he would walk his dog and we became friends and I was like he had a car and I didn't and I lived in Philly and I was like do you want to go to a nude beach? He was like that sounds cool, sure.
He's like, wow,
But
I never thought anybody would ever asked me that. When do you want to go, girl?
honestly, we were talking on the way up, and it was like we had only known each other like 2 weeks at this point, but it was a pandemic. Like everyone was locked in. It was boring and whatever. Like it was like kind of lockdown times, but and in Philly, there weren't any outdoor spaces you could really go to.
Yeah.
And at the beach, it was like there's tons of space. It's summer, you want sunshine, help with the depression. But so we went to the beach and he on the way there, he was like, actually, I'm really excited for this because I am really insecure about my body. And I'm like scared to do this, which I think means I should because like this will be healing. Obviously, all these places are clothing optional, so you don't
Yeah.
have to be nude. But so you go when we went, and this man introduced himself to us like 5 minutes after we sat down, and he was like, "If you need anything, let me know. Like me and some other friends come here every day. We know everyone in the community. Like if you feel uncomfortable at any time, like come talk to us." And just super sweet. And yeah, but no one ever is like staring at your body. Everyone is naked. You're like not
Yeah.
looking at anyone. And it's just like you're just humans. And it's so freeing. And he ended up loving it and was like, I'm definitely coming back. And it's
Sounds
amazing.
liberating.
It is liberating. And it's mostly people 50 and above because people just stop caring, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
They just want to feel free and they stop caring. But it was really interesting going to the parking lot and seeing these people that you like, you saw how beautiful they were. Like you saw their smiles, you saw them interact with others with kindness. And then you get into the parking lot and you see their car and their clothes, and you realize immediately how many judgments are coming up. And
Mm.
it's like man-made and it's not real.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
very true.
it was very cool and interesting. And then me and my girlfriends, like, we just loved, we would just be naked or like hang out, take our tops off because like it's more comfortable or whatever. I did have a friend who was like in her 40s, and I just turned 30. She was in her early 40s. And when we first met, me and my friends would be like topless hanging out, and she would always be like, I don't know, I've never done that in front of someone. And we're like, you
Yeah.
don't have to, but if you want to, like that's fine. And then she did. Now she is like the biggest nudist queen. She loves being naked. She's like all about nature. Yeah, just like I don't just love your body. It's like when you
Mhm.
see real humans and not touched up photos or filters or magazines or social media, and you see real people, it's like, what was I even worried about? Like,
Yeah. True. Very
highly recommend. Hmm.
nude beaches. I'm actually
Yeah.
surprised. I don't think there's any episodes. Is there any with Sex in the City? I can't
With
think
the
of one.
beach?
Yeah, like if they go to a nude beach.
Not with the beach, but there are some scenes. They're nude in front of each other in like saunas and stuff
Yeah.
and spas and like yeah, so there's some episodes where they're like naked in front of each other and it's like or they're in the locker room after
A
whatever
nude
and
beach
they're
one would
like
have been an interesting episode.
yeah, that would have been honestly, and it was so close to there.
Mm.
But they wouldn't probably be caught dead at Gunnison Beach because it's not the Hamptons or
Yeah,
Martha's Vineyard, so
very true.
yeah. Okay, my other thought is Carrie Bradshaw. People always say that she was a bad friend
Mhm.
because she would cancel dates with her friends because she was like dating someone and they were hanging out and she didn't want to leave.
Mhm.
And like there was one specific scene with Miranda waiting for her at the bar. It's the bar that she meets Steven because Carrie like calls and is like, well, it's raining and it's all the way uptown and the Parisian guy is being so cute and she doesn't want to leave him. And Miranda's like, what the hell? Screw you. And like hangs up and gets mad. Other than that, which that is shitty, but
Mhm.
and then like talking incessantly about men, other than that, she is a good friend and she does show up for people. Like whenever there's something wrong, they always call Carrie and she is there for them, takes them to the ER, like shows up. Like she does everything for all the friends. Like anytime they needed something or they call her, she is there. Like she drops everything and goes there. So I don't know. I think she is a really good friend when you need it the most. But like
Yeah.
sometimes yeah, sometimes with the man thing, it's like not it's like annoying.
I just think it's such an important like storyline for like one of the characters to have held, and like I know it like
Hmm.
gave Carrie some backlash, but like I do think that there's a lot of us that have centered men in our lives. And I know I've been guilty of doing that in the past, like their feelings, being with them, getting wrapped up in that. And so like I
Yeah.
think it's important to show women like when it happens, and because
Yeah.
it can happen so easily, and then show like the domino effect. Like show Miranda sitting there by herself. Like okay, you're with your guy and it's new and you're excited and you're going to cancel on your friend. This is what it actually looks like, you know? Because maybe you
Mhm.
send that text or maybe you call and you cancel on your friend and then you're back to whatever you were doing with the guy that you're with. But like your friend is sitting there and now she has no plans for the night. And like, like those female friendships are so important and it's so
Mhm.
important to prioritize them. And because like, as you'll see, like those friendships are what's there for like the majority of those women's lives throughout the show. It's not the men, you know?
Yeah, no, it's not the
Yeah, like even when they change, those friendships are still there. And I know, like in particular, I have one best friend who has listened to me talk at nauseum about problems with men. And she's just always been so great and gracious. And, like, I don't know. I think it is important as friends to like hold that down and like give your friends some grace when they're going through that. But it's also
Yeah.
important to like realize how much it does affect like the social circle.
Yeah. That's such a good point about it being important for the story for at least one of the characters to be that way.
Yeah, because it happens to most people, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. There was a theory, it came out a while ago where it was saying that the four characters actually are just different aspects of like one woman's psyche,
Hmm.
like different archetypes of like one woman's brain and like the different versions of herself she can be.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have,
Um,
yeah, 'cause we all have a bit of every character in us in different moments for sure.
Yeah. And I do think I do love the theory that like the loves of their lives were their friends and their
Mhm.
friend group because like that is something that sticks and is so important. And like when you have a true best friend, it doesn't matter what mistakes you make in your life, what mistakes you make with men, like they're there for you no matter what. It's
Yeah.
like that's your person, they're sticking with you. You can make some decisions that they might think are questionable or they didn't agree with, but they're not going to judge you for like how you react when you go through hard things. And these women go through hard things in their life, and maybe they make choices that other people don't agree with, but their friends like might be honest with them, but they don't abandon them. And I think that's an important aspect of that. And also,
Mhm.
like, I heard a quote that said, I've never met a man that left me in a better position when he left me than when he found me. And I was like, damn, that's true. Oh my God. I have never had a man leave me in a better position when he left me than when he found me. And like,
Yeah.
that is something to like really think about. Because I know a bunch of women and a bunch of friendships that I've had who I am better today than when they found me. Like a
Yeah.
hundred percent. And that is probably going to just keep being reinforced, you
Mhm.
know? But with men, that's different.
Yeah. Besides my fiance, yeah, none of them. No. I always left them better than I found them because I would encourage them to go
Yes.
after, yeah,
Mhm.
go after
Yep, you boost up their
opportunities. I would
ego. You make them feel good about themselves. You love them. You help them through their hard time.
help them look better, dress better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't you
Help
get
them
that
move
hair in your
along.
ear, honey? Has been there for probably 6 years that you didn't know about.
Yeah, maybe you should do some push-ups, honey. Yeah. Yeah, no, for real. When you said that thing about like yeah, like your friends not abandoning you through the hard times, it reminded me of there's an episode where Charlotte, when Miranda gets pregnant at the same time that Charlotte has a miscarriage,
Mm,
and Charlotte just like doesn't want to see Miranda because she's like she just can't handle it because Miranda was considering an abortion. And Miranda, Charlotte was like, I just want to be alone, please. Like, she was like, you're gonna ignore me and walk past me? And she was like, no, I just want to be alone. Like, please don't walk with me. And she was like, well, is it okay if I walk behind you to just to
mm.
make sure you get home okay? So then she does. She like walked behind her for like, I don't know, like I think they said whatever amount of blocks, like the whole way
Yeah,
home. And Charlotte never looked back, but she always knew Miranda was behind her.
that's
And it's just like,
beautiful. It's really
yeah, like
beautiful. And that's
that's
what
what
women should be doing for each other, not judging each other, like just supporting each other because it's hard. And
I I do think there's just this massive feminine awakening right now where I don't think women judging each other or like being against each other is really, I mean, besides your life experience. But I feel
oh,
like
I did have some women, yeah, turn their backs on me. Yeah. Without
yeah,
even asking a question. And that's how
no,
you know
Amber,
they weren't real friends. Somebody who won't even like ask your side or ask you what happened. It's like, but people
Mhm.
like that are like, I mean, like, I think you could tell who your true friends are, and that just helps you see that. You know what I mean? And there are some women who center men's approval and like
Yeah.
attention from men. And I feel like those are the women who have let me down in
Mhm.
friendships and stuff. And like, hopefully that perspective for them will change because I think, like seeking men's approval like that isn't really the healthiest thing.
Yeah.
Um, but.
Hopefully it doesn't change because of like a terrible traumatic event, but honestly, that might be the thing that causes it because when you're in, it's like being indoctrinated. It's like a cult where you have a
Mhm.
brainwashing. They're just like deep in the patriarchy and internalized
Yeah.
misogyny and like trying to fit in and like find some power in that system that will never allow them any power or to be equal. But
Mhm.
I really truly believe there is a huge feminine awakening happening, especially the last 5 years, where women are realizing that we have literally been traded like cattle through marriage, and everything is created for men by men, and they have controlled everything, and we have not been free and not been able to have any power or choices, and just the matriarchy is rising. But there's some videos I've been seeing on TikTok about all these women who, by finding decentering men content, they are now divorced. And they're like, if I didn't see content about decentering men on TikTok like I did, I'd probably still be married. And this woman said that she realized through this content that like her husband didn't even like her because she was like
Mhm.
thinking that there was a reason why he was saying mean things to her or not caring about her asking him to do something 5 million times and saying he would, but then not, or like her one example, she said that she created a video that kind of went viral and she's like, feels so bad for the women who were like, oh my God, this is such a good idea. But she made a TikTok video being like, for years I've asked my husband to like pick up the clothes he leaves on the floor as he comes home. He just kind of like leaves a trail of clothes. Like he takes off his socks and his jacket and like his work some vest and like he just leaves it on the floor on his way to the couch and doesn't pick it up. And she like comes home from work and trips over it. And so she was always asking him like please just put it in the hamper and he wouldn't. So she put a hamper at the end of the couch like hidden so that way it wouldn't mess with how the room looked, but there was like the hamper tucked behind, between the wall and the couch. And so he would play basketball with his, she convinced him that he could take his dirty clothes, hold on to them, and play basketball and get it into the hamper. So she was like, I didn't realize he just doesn't fucking like me. Like
Mm.
he actually doesn't care about my feelings, how like what I want, what I need, and doesn't even like me because he's being mean to me and disrespecting me. And like all these women were commenting on that video, like, oh my God, this is such a good idea. I'm gonna use this with my husband. It's been years of me asking him to pick his stuff up. And it's like that is so sad. And
Mhm.
I'm just so glad that there's like all these women realizing that they like I don't want to say you don't need love because there are relationships like mine that exist, but even if my relationship wasn't there, I still know like I could live a happy, fulfilled, like full life. And you don't need
Yeah.
a man. You don't. And like even if it's just a life with me and my pets, like and my friends, that's a beautiful life. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will say, like, I think like decentering men is like a new concept I honestly just heard about like 6 months ago. And it has like
Mhm.
revolutionized the way I think about things. And like, there are so many, like, I know a couple who got divorced, and when they had the conversation, they both admitted they weren't even in love with each other anymore. Like, they
Yeah.
weren't even in love anymore, but they were just willing to stay in it for the rest of their lives to
Wow.
just continue with the life that they had built. And like, because that's just easier sometimes. And
Mhm.
like, I don't know, for women like thinking about getting divorced and stuff, I will say like it is like one of the hardest things I ever went through. And like there are times where it will just bring you to your knees. And it's really hard, but I do feel like it's worth it in the long run, especially if you have a partner that you don't even feel like likes you or cares about your needs.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of partners, let's talk about the Sex and the City men and the partners that they have. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I feel like I remember liking Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him. Mr. Big is just the biggest disgrace of any partner slash man that you could be running after. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that dynamic gets hard to watch sometimes. How about you?
Yeah. Okay. I have many opinions. So I actually hate Aiden.
Why?
I will rewatching it, and when you get to Aiden, I
I
would
haven't
love.
rewatched it yet.
Yeah, maybe we could do an update episode or something where we can like focus in on a specific topic. But Aiden, when I rewatched it, I was like, he's actually like gross and not it. Like he falls asleep with like his hand in the chicken bucket and like his gross underwear, and she like comes home from like a night out looking fabulous, and he's like trying to convince her to not do her plans, not see her friends. Like he wasn't trying to get her to leave her friends, but he just like was trying to be like, stay home with me. And like he was all nasty. Like, I don't know. He just really grossed me out. And then there were times where he just was like insecure and trying to get validation and get her to like, he wanted to get engaged, not because he loved her, but because he wanted to feel like he won and
Mm,
he had security over Mr. Big that she chose him. And it's like, that's not the right reason. That's not the right dynamic. And then they tried to paint Carrie like she was the villain or like she has commitment problems, but like he had a weird energy around it. Like no
mhm.
wonder she was getting hives because like his intention wasn't he was just overflowing with love for this woman
Yeah.
and like, could not wait to spend every day with her. It might have been like some of that, but it also was like a lot of insecurity and like wanting to kind of like rewrite what happened and like make sure that he was the winner. And there was just a lot of immaturity and control wrapped in
Mhm.
subconsciously. And
Yeah.
I do think Carrie, I mean, women are so sensitive. Like, I think she felt that. And like, I think if he was genuinely just like so smitten, so like, if he had really forgiven everything and was coming with a different energy, I think it would have been a different experience. But um yeah, I have some other examples too, but I'm forgetting them now. I made a TikTok about it a bit ago when I was like rewatching that specific season.
But I do
Um
think a lot of men are like that. A lot of men will be like, oh, like she's gonna choose me. I'm gonna lock her down. Like I want to be with her because she looks a certain way, does a certain thing. People think about her a certain way, and they like lose that aspect of like who that woman actually is and what like getting married means, you know?
yeah, well, that actually I had a conversation like that with my fiance because there was a moment where like we pushed off planning it because there's just been a lot of like family drama to navigate and stress on my end and things being triggered um, regarding family stuff and the idea of planning an event with lots of family there. So I was like needing time, and he said that he didn't know any of his friends who had only been engaged for like lo who had been engaged longer than a year. All of his friends were engaged, and then the next year they got married. And I was saying I wanted like a 2-year engagement. And for me, that was like normal. Like I feel like most of the people I knew who got married, it was a 2-year engagement, and that was pretty, I felt
That's
like
what
that
I
was
did.
standard.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I felt like that was standard. And like me and him, we've been dating for a year. And I just like, okay, great. I'm making this commitment to you. And I'm still like, there's more time for us to keep like growing and developing our relationship. And that's a good thing. And also, like, we don't know what the heck we want to do wedding
Hmm.
wise. I've never dreamed of one. I don't have any plans. So, like, coming up, yeah, I don't know. And we had just moved in together and it was a bunch of change all at once. So, um something happened that triggered like insecurity in him. I forget what it was, but he said he was like, "Why don't we just like go to the courthouse or something?" And he was like, "Why don't we do it in like 3 months or so and we don't have to tell anyone." And I was like, I was like, I love this and I love you, but I feel like this energy is coming from insecurity and not overflowing love, desire. And I was like, I want to hear what you want. And I'm really happy for you to be sharing this with me. But what I'm feeling isn't love. I'm feeling insecurity and I'm feeling pressure. And
Yeah.
he was like, you're right. I am coming from an insecure place. And there is a part of me that's like scared you're still deciding whether you want to marry me or not. And
Yeah.
then we talked about it. And then,
Which is so
and
important.
yeah, and like now we could because we talked about it and faced that together, we were able to like overcome it. And now like I could totally go to the courthouse on a random day and get married to him because I know that the frequency around it is one of love and safety and ease and trust. It's a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And if it was still insecurity and so I just, and trying to find control, I wouldn't say yes. I'd be like, I can't marry you in that energy. I just can't.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, too big of a decision and it's too big of a moment to have it be in that space. Like, it should be from overflowing love for each other. But anyway, yeah, so I totally understand why Carrie was like getting hives and um couldn't do it.
You do
Like,
it. So, question with Charlotte, do you think when she
mhm.
got married, it was more from that standpoint of just like wanting to get married, wanting to have that checked off? It's something she'd been wanting for so long, or do you think she approached it with like overflowing love and that was the only reason why?
No, she was totally manipulating. Like, Bunny did this little trick where she was like, do this, blah, 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 where McDougal's mom like rubbed his forearm
Hmm.
and told him what to do. And Charlotte saw it. And then she used it for a couple things. And he says, alrighty then, just like he did to his mother.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Alrighty then. So then she rubbed his arm and was like, we should get married. And he said, alrighty then. And that's how they got engaged. And then she was totally disappointed because it wasn't this romantic, big
Yeah.
gesture of love and connection. It was just checking things off a box, off a list. So
Do
she
you think
got
it's
what she wanted.
unrealistic? Like, do you think it's unrealistic for women to like get these grand proposals
No,
and like gestures? Like, are we like, I don't know, was Sex in the City the first one that showed that like most of the time it is a disappointment?
I think most of the time it is a disappointment.
I
I
think it
don't
is
think,
too for most women. I think we build it up
yeah.
in our heads and we think it's going to be this romantic, beautiful thing, outpouring of
Mhm.
love, like you were saying, and then it ends
Yeah.
up being a Charlotte kind of thing, you know?
Well, that's why I think you shouldn't settle. Like
Yeah.
if I was Charlotte, I would have been like, that's bullshit. Like we're not
Mhm.
engaged. Only ask me if it's like this like creative expression from your heart and soul. Like
But I think
I
Sex in the City kind of like showed a light on that, you know?
hmm Oh yeah. Well, they talked about it so much with like the women who like wanted to get married by a certain date and have kids by a certain date and like have the house in Connecticut by
Yeah.
a certain date and they got all of it and Charlotte felt like she had to measure up to that and she had
Mhm.
to that she wanted to be worthy of that and these women had something she didn't and then she learned that it was just fake, it wasn't real, and that feeling love and alive was worth it. And then she meets Harry, who was her divorce attorney. He was the bald Jewish
Yes.
man. He was sweet, but he also like, I don't know, he irked me a little bit too because he's kind of like a man child in their home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like he's probably one of the best dudes in relationships, but I do feel like he's a bit of a man child at home, like just messy, careless, like, and then she was right. Like, he was like, when she got mad at him for not putting a ring on it,
Hmm.
like, she was right. He kept making all these promises, and she was like, well, where is it?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, and then he leaves and like dumps her.
I don't know that
And
Sex
then
in the City really had any male. characters that I was like, wow, I hope I have that. Or wow, what a great story or relationship for these women. Like, really, there's like, I mean, like, I didn't love any of them.
No, the only one that I would have considered like a decent dude was Skipper. Do you remember him?
Yes, the
He's
nerdy guy who liked
the
Miranda.
nerdy guy with the curly hair who was like obsessed with Miranda. Yeah.
He was like a hopeless romantic, like, yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. I would say Ben is the most like him.
Okay.
Um, if you're a woman and you want to get married, find a skipper, someone who is like totally obsessed with you, who isn't afraid to seem corny, like he's not obsessed with his ego and how he's perceived
Mhm.
by others. He's not performing for dudes. He's not like just trying to control you. He like just someone who he's like actually that is an actual masculine person because he's like wanting to serve. Like he's like he loves Miranda's independence and he loves her power and he like wants to just pour love into her. And
Yeah.
she's like, ew. And
But isn't
and he
that the
only
most like masculine and secure man? Like a man
Mhm.
who like sees a powerful woman and like an independent woman and a woman who wants to be able to stand on her own or like do these things, have her own thoughts, challenge him. Like
Mhm.
that's a masculine man, a man that doesn't get intimidated by that. Someone who
Yeah.
doesn't feel like I need you to be a couple pegs below me, or I need to feel like the man, or I'm the
Yeah.
boss. You know what I mean? Someone who's looking for like a true partner is like honestly in my eyes like the most masculine.
Yeah.
And like
That is
when I talk to men and I see their ego get in the way and I see them like need to feel superior to their partner, it's incredibly unattractive.
yeah.
I think it is
Yeah.
for most women.
Oh, I hope so. Like
Like who wants
genuinely
to be like, you're amazing, like be
no
higher up than me in the hierarchy or you know what I mean? Like,
no one. But you would trust Skipper to like make decisions because he is like so considerate and has her like highest well-being in
yes.
mind.
Hmm.
Mhm. It's not that, yeah, it's not that you want someone controlling. You want someone you can trust to take control.
Yeah, someone who's like, because like, I mean, I love a man who's like, I'm gonna protect you. You know, like
Mhm.
I'm gonna take care of you. Like you might not need to be protected, but you're gonna feel like you're protected when I'm around. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna take care of you. Like all of that kind of stuff. And I think there's a lot of men where it starts out like that, and then it like
Mhm.
diminishes as the relationship goes on. You know, and like
Yeah.
that's when you can tell if that's their true intention or not.
Well, it's like Samantha when she dates that the like hotel mogul.
I don't remember
Forget
him.
his name. She falls in love with him. She like fights for being his PR person. And she's like, if I was a man, you would have given me keys and slapped my name on the door and taken me for a whiskey. Because he finds out, he tells her that like she's slept with too many people he knows. And
Mm,
that's why he can't hire her. And she was like, if I was a man, you would be shaking my hand right now and giving me keys to an office. And then she like runs away because she's gonna cry and doesn't want to cry in front of him. And he's like chasing her like Samantha. But anyway, then they like start sleeping together and she falls in love with him and he cheats on her. But he comes across as like he buys her all these like expensive gifts. He has this like fancy penthouse. He like takes her on trips. He gives her like huge diamond rings that probably cost like $500,000. Like he yeah, he comes across as this like romantic, like powerful man who can take control, but he can't even control himself.
hmm.
So,
I think there's a
yeah.
lot of men out there like that, you know, who will distract with like extravagant things, gifts, experiences, but then they're
Yeah.
not able to show up and like meet someone where they need them emotionally,
Yeah.
let somebody into their life without keeping secrets. Yeah, so it's like you come off as this powerful person who wants to love and adore someone, but actually doesn't have the capacity to do it, so they kind of hide behind that.
I was gonna sneeze. Yeah, no, they do hide behind it. And like the French guy, he hides behind his art and like he's so mysterious and he's so romantic and creative and like that is fun. Like that
Hmm.
is fun, but he also is not in control of himself and like has anger issues and can't be
Yes.
emotionally available. And it's interesting because like again, it's ha he's using his tools to like sell himself and
Mhm.
controlling how he's being perceived. He's using art to do that, whereas Big used money to do that. And same with this other guy who Samantha was with, he used money because they're salesmen. So he was selling himself this perception of himself that
Yeah.
wasn't true, and he didn't have control over himself and hurt this woman he's claiming to be the love of his life. But meanwhile, Skipper was he was a computer programmer in the 90s slash 2000s. That was like you were making good money.
Hmm.
Like he was probably making really good money, and especially in New York City. And so he was a nerd with a lot of money and who had absolutely no fucks given for how he was perceived because he didn't even know, like he didn't invest any time in that.
Yeah. Well, he
And
didn't have
yeah.
any ego that ruled him. You know,
Hmm.
like he was more sure, like he liked what he liked and he was who he was. And then he
Hmm.
loved her. And that's all that mattered,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm thinking about some of the like one night stands that they have in the show where it's like the guy that Miranda meets at the running club and he like really wants her to eat out his butt and so he keeps like shoving his butt in her face and it's like they've only hung out like three times or been on three dates and like they've had sex twice and it's just like all these disgusting scenarios but I feel like at that time dating maybe people still are like this. I feel like it's less common now, but like dating, a lot of people have sex like on the second or third date or like early on. And I feel like that is just, I don't know. I personally wouldn't strategize dating in that way. I mean, obviously do whatever the fuck you want. I feel like safety is the number one um ish like concern and focus is
Yeah.
like make sure you're safe and you really don't know someone that many dates in, you definitely, I think, need more time with someone to really guarantee your safety. But yeah, do whatever you want. Be liberated, be Samantha, but also like these, it's like it's always the guys that are like pretending they want a relationship.
Hmm.
Like, but then they hook up and the guys are just being really gross and shallow and like these weird situations happen. And yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
saw I saw this video the other day, and it was this woman like commenting off of a video that a man posted, and he said that he went on a date. It was the first or second date, so very soon. They were intimate, and then he made a video basically laughing at this woman to like her good morning text message. Like she like reached out to him the next day, like, "Good morning, I had fun last night, all this stuff, like I'd like to see you again." And he was laughing, like basically saying that like he had gotten what he wanted and like, why would she send him that? Like, he wasn't going to reach out to her again and stuff. And the woman just roasted him and was like, this is so sad because like she reached out because you led her to believe that you wanted her to. Like, you
yeah.
are such a piece of crap that you had to pretend to be somebody else and lie to this woman to
Mhm.
get her to be intimate with you. Because if she didn't think that you wanted that good morning text, she probably wouldn't have been intimate with you and she would have made a
No.
different decision. And she was like, so you're sitting here laughing at her, but actually, like, you're the joke because you couldn't even be yourself to get that
Yeah.
intimacy. You had to pretend to be someone else. And like,
So
it's so true. And it's like, if that's all you want, like, be honest about it because there's plenty of people who just want that experience and like they're good the next day not talking. But like to lead
yeah.
somebody on who doesn't want that, like, it is pretty gross.
It's lazy, it's gross,
Yeah.
it's embarrassing. It's
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, it's
It
embarrassing.
is. It is. And I loved it. I loved her take because, like, I guarantee you he uploaded that thinking, like, oh, I'm the man and I'm so
Yeah.
cool. And she was just like, this is like, you had to lie to get somebody to sleep with you. Like,
Yeah.
good
But
job.
they're so demented. They're like, but I still got what I want. So, because they don't have like that, someone like that doesn't have self-esteem.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it just doesn't even penetrate them, the fact that they themselves aren't worthy of having
Yeah.
sex.
If you'd actually been yourself, she wouldn't have slept with you.
Honestly, okay, back to the body image thing. I saw a post where someone was saying that like if you struggle with body image or being mean to yourself, that internal voice judging your body or like saying mean things to you about your appearance as a woman is basically the voice of Jeffrey Epstein because all of the people, it's like one company that owns Hollister, Abercrombie, Victoria's Secret, even Justice Limited 2, all the fashions and like magazines and the images that we were sold growing up of like what you should look like, that was influencing us, like it was controlled by pedophiles. So like the beauty industry and the fashion industry were deeply controlled by pedophiles, and it all led to Jeffrey Epstein, who was at the head of it. So like you calling yourself fat or like not pretty enough or looking old, that is literally the voice of disgusting pedophiles in your head being mean to you, that like you're letting be mean to you. So that was like, oh my God, that feels so like the next time my head is going to be like just that voice that we were indoctrinated with. Like, we're not choosing to think these things. It's just like we were born into like this diet culture and like
Yeah.
thinking, like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds to be attractive in my bathing suit for the summer. Like, that voice is a pedophile.
Yeah.
So, like, free yourself and stop giving a crap.
All of
And
these
like,
negative things. Yeah.
yeah, there are laws to protect animals and corpses from men having sex with them. So it's like, why would you even care about the validation of men? They will have sex with anything. They are gross. And so,
Mm.
yeah, just trying to be attractive towards men, like letting that be a sole focus of your self-esteem, of like how you view your precious, beautiful body that like helps you live your one incredible life. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't think the girls in Sex and the City, especially Carrie, I feel like she doesn't value her time enough. I think
I was
that's
gonna
something
say, do you
Samantha,
think they do? Yeah.
I think Samantha has kind of mastered it. I think she values her time because she's like, what am I going to get out of this situation? And
Mhm.
then she can pivot based on like, I do just want sex from this person, or I do
Yes.
want a career opportunity from this person. Like she pivots and you see her do that based on like, okay, they can't give me this what I want, but maybe I can get this from them.
Hmm.
And like that is someone who values their time. Carrie, like she doesn't value her time at all. She will just let Big walk all over her and like go back to him anytime he wants.
Yeah. And the sad
That
part is, I think like for most of these women, like a lot of it centered around the male relationships that they were having. But were any of them really ever truly happy? Like in the male relationships they had?
there was one time they talk about it, and Charlotte said that she felt happy every day in her relationship. She said not all day, every day, but every day
That's nice. Was that in her marriage?
with
Or with Harry?
Harry.
With Harry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she said
So
not all day, every day, but every day.
So like how wild to like as a woman take your life and center it around men when like the odds are you're probably not even gonna be happy doing that.
Yeah.
Like once
Well,
you have that, you know what I mean? Like it's not, and even if you are happy, like it's not enough to be the only thing, you know?
yeah. Samantha, I feel like she decentering men, if it was a term back then, she
Oh yeah.
she like invented it because
She was
when
a
Smith,
master.
yeah, when she ends up leaving Smith, when she dumps him and he's like, why? And she said to the girls, she didn't say this to Smith, but she said to the girls, like all day long, she's saying his name. It's his brand. It's his
Mhm.
name on everything. She says his name more than she even thinks her own or hears her own. And she was like, I love me. I love you, but I love me more.
Mhm.
And like the relationship with her is the one that she needs to work on. And so she like leaves him, and yeah, and she was upset because she really wanted this ring. It was like a flower diamond ring, and she was gonna buy it for herself, and he buys it for her. And she was like,
Mhm.
no, the point is me buying it for myself. Like, not
Yeah.
just having it, it's the fact that I got it for me. And like, she's centering herself and like teaching herself in all these decisions and purchases that she is worthy and the center of her life. And just was like, no one displayed that like in television.
No, I mean, like, it was such a liberating series. And it was like, I mean, it was so taboo in so many ways, you know? And I mean, it was an amazing thing for women. It really was.
Yeah. It is interesting because I think Miranda throughout the series, I think she was very liberated in the beginning, and then she got less and less. liberated. Like she started fearing missing out and
Hmm.
letting that control her decisions. Like, what if this is my baby? What if this is my only chance at love? What
Yeah.
if I should just marry him? Because, like, and she starts asking those questions. And I think the questions you ask yourself are so important because, yeah, they lead to these decisions. And it's like, those were just very crappy questions.
Yeah, and but I think that, and I also think that's good though too, because like for me, like becoming single, after my divorce and like learning how to decenter men, like
Mm.
there's like I was telling you lately, there's so many days that I just feel amazing. Like I have a home that's just mine and my kids that I've created. Like the food in the fridge is because of me. Like their laundry cleaned and folded away is because of me. Like being able to pay for their stuff, like it's all because of me, and that feels really good. And there's like a lot of empowerment and like happiness and joy and fulfillment I get from that. But like there is also a time where like those thoughts creep in, like Miranda, like, like, is it okay that this feels like enough for me right now because I don't have a relationship? Like, is that okay? Like, if I'm not sure if I'll ever get married again, like, is that all right? Or would I have to be married again in order to feel happy one day? Like, so you do have all these societal things that even when you're feeling like your best and you're most independent and empowered, I think
Mhm.
like those things do creep in, and that's okay. And it's okay to
Yeah.
like not know the answers, or like maybe one day feel like, oh no, I need a relationship, and then the next day you're fine again, you know?
Yeah, very true. I think it's also important to realize where you are in your cycle.
Hmm.
When those thoughts happen, like, is it when you're ovulating? And then is it during your
Oh,
period?
okay. That's actually
Yeah.
important too, because there's just so much that we have to think about that men don't.
Yeah.
But it can. It
It's
can
like,
affect your hormones or your emotions, how you're feeling.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I love when I see women be like, just kidding, I was just ovulating. I didn't actually I didn't want to date this person or I didn't want to actually do that. I was just ovulating. Whoops.
Yeah, they just looked attractive for
Yeah.
a second.
Uh-huh.
2 days later, I was over it.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God,
Okay.
that's so funny.
What is your last comment you would like to make about the series?
Um, I think that in a way, probably every woman can relate to like all the characters, which I
Mhm.
think is surprising because we all have like our favorites and stuff. But I think like we do almost at some point, maybe not as long like as each one, but like go through some kind of period where you can relate to Miranda or to
Mhm.
Samantha or to Carrie or Charlotte,
Yeah.
Um, And I just think, like, for me, it just showed me how important these female relationships are. And, like, you
Yeah.
don't have to have a big group. Look, it's a group of four women, and they just had each other's backs. Like, you can have one or two really good friends, and, like, those people are going to stick by you and support you through the ups and downs. And I think it's important, too, that it just shows that, like, men don't have to be the center of your world. And there's so many things that are like important, and like you have to be happy with yourself, and then anything extra is just extra. It could just add happiness, but it's important to feel good about yourself individually first.
Yeah. What's been your favorite part about rewatching it?
um I think like I don't know. I feel some like validation watching their bad decisions. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like I don't know. I'm not sure where my dating life is going or what's happening. And like I'm meeting new people, and like I think for me it's just funny to watch their bad decisions. And I think watching it the second time around, I see so many things and I'm like I would not tolerate that. And maybe I would have
Mm-hmm.
tolerated that 10 years ago or when I was in
Yeah.
my 20s or my 30s, but there's so many things now that I'm like, I've been through enough. Like, I would not have called that guy back. I wouldn't have met him again. I wouldn't have tolerated that. So, like, I think that's pretty cool to see. How about you?
Yeah. Well, so the lipstick aspect of the show, I am obsessed with vintage Fendi baguettes.
Hmm.
Um, I have two. Well, technically three, but one of them's like a monogram one. I have two vintage, like one red suede one with like a glitter buckle, and the other one is the silver sparkly one that has the Swarovski crystals on the buckle
Yeah.
and the silk lining. And yeah, I'm obsessed with them. I want more to my collection so bad. And I love Manolo Blahniks now and Jimmy Choo. And I have all these vintage shoes
So
from
fun watching the fashion.
yes, so that's fun. I love the 90s inspired fashion in the beginning. I don't like the fashion towards the end of the show, besides Samantha and
Yeah.
some of Charlotte. But yeah, the fashion in the beginning of few seasons, mostly the first, is like my favorite. But yeah, that's been the fun. That's been really fun. And then I love just oh, I forget what I was gonna say. My favorite thing overall. Um yeah, I just love these stories about women. I just love watching a show about multiple women. It's so rare, and so it's really nice to see that.
I think it would
Have
be
that.
great if they could come out with something else. Like doesn't have to be Sex in the City, but like another series pivoted around women and like
Yeah.
their different life choices and like navigating.
Um, so my favorite thing about the show, which I also love watching Selling Sunset for this reason, but my favorite thing is I love watching women making money, like
Hmm.
having real jobs where they are making good money and living cool, independent lives and like buying things they love and like investing in fashion and going on trips and doing expensive things for themselves. I feel like that is also a very rare thing in movies and television. So that's my favorite thing is like watching them like spend $400 on shoes and go to
Yeah.
these cool events and make money. So,
I love that too. I think that's so great. That's a good
yeah.
example. Yeah, I love that. So, all right, well, let us know who you guys most identify with. Who's your favorite character? Can you relate to them? Is there a character that you just can't relate to and that you just find a little crazy, or how do you feel?
Oh, and Smith, I forgot he was the best boyfriend for sure. I can't believe we didn't even talk about him, but he
Uh,
was the
all right, I'll let you know
boy.
my opinion once I get to that part again.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a part two. But yeah, if you would like help with dating and how to attract a Smith or a Skipper and become more like Samantha or Miranda or a Charlotte part two, then check out my dating course. We'll link it in the description, and that could be a really helpful resource for you. Make sure you like and subscribe and share with a friend if you would like to. We would love that. And we'll see you next week.
Yep, bye.